So 0 to £100,000 turnover this year is not going to be an easy task at all. Now, in all of the 4 and a bit years that I've been running my business, I think in all of that time, I have probably turned over in total probably around about £160,000, something along those lines. So to actually set a goal this year of just in 12 months hitting £100,000 in a year seems absolutely ridiculous, but that's the goal that I've set for myself, and I need a bit of a plan obviously to get there, don't I? So what I'm going to go through in this video is what's going around in my head in terms of the actual plan that I'm going to set and follow for the next 12 months in order for me to actually hit this massive revenue goal and go from £0 at the start of the year to, by the end of December 2026, to have hit £100,000 in my business, and to do that for the very first time in a year since starting my solo service business. Now, it's a big task, I understand that. I did one of the best months, well, the best month that I'd ever done since starting the business in November of 2025. So I actually turned over £10,500 in that month. So I guess all I need to do is do that 10 times and I'll hit my goal. Easier said than done. And consistency and consistently hitting those sorts of numbers is obviously the only way that I'm actually going to achieve the 100k turnover. But what it did in my head when I hit that goal, when I hit that target, when I hit that amount in November last year, was it motivated me and it gave me the brain space to think, you know what, you've done it once. If you've done it once, you can do it multiple times, and all you have to do is be consistent and keep doing those 10 grand months every single month for 10 months. So when I set my £100,000 goal this year, I actually set it to be across 10 months, so 10 times 10, 100,000, and was basically counting on January being quiet, as it usually has been, and also December being quiet, where it generally has been a little bit quieter. But already got off to a fantastic start this year, and I am just over £8,000 turnover in January to start off with, so an absolutely fantastic start. And that's made things a little bit easier, and it's giving me that motivation that I can do it, and that I just need to keep following the same steps over and over and over again consistently, and eventually that £100,000 will come. Now, I'm figuring all this out as I go. I'm not going to make any bones about it. This channel isn't about me telling you how to get to £100,000 or how to do £10,000 months. It's just going to document my journey from where I am now to where I want to be, and everything in between, the mistakes, the ups, the downs, the lefts, the rights, and everything in between of that, which if you're a small business owner yourself, you'll know there's plenty of that happens. Running a small business is definitely a roller coaster ride. There's lots of ups, there's lots of downs, and it's all about riding that wave and obviously making sure that you're staying consistent. So yeah, I'm not going to make any bones about it. I'm figuring it out as I go along, and I'm just going to document the journey all the way throughout this year and obviously post it to this channel. So what does my plan look like in my tiny little pea brain? What's going on in there? And how am I planning on actually getting to 100k this year? So first things first, like I've spoke about on a couple of other videos so far, one of my biggest goals for this year is to substantially grow my audience across all of my social media channels. So that's including YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, as many touch points as I can possibly get in front of the right people and generate some attention for my business. That is the first part of my plan. My idea behind this is if I can generate enough attention and I can build a big enough audience of people who are potentially going to need a website at some point in time, it's just a numbers game, and eventually some of those people, if they like me and trust me enough, are eventually going to say, Dave, can I work with you? This has worked for me in the past. This is what I've been kind of doing on LinkedIn for the last couple of years now, is just generating awareness and generating attention and hoping that at a certain point in time, the people that are obviously my target audience are going to reach out and be ready to buy. So that's what I'm aiming to do. That's step number one of the grand plan that's going around in my head, is to grow my audience substantially enough that the numbers are big enough that just a small proportion of those people are eventually going to turn into paying customers. Now, the more attention that I can generate, so this is kind of moving on to point number two, is the more attention that I can generate in whatever possible ways that might be with people who are, like I say, potentially going to buy a website from me at some point in time. That is what I'm also going to be aiming to do. So hence the reason for these videos, going out every single day. As of me getting back from this working holiday, I'm going to be posting short form videos to all of my my channels, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube Shorts. And again, that is very much focused on generating awareness, generating attention. And again, from that, that's then going to build my audience and eventually people obviously falling into my pipeline. So, point number three. What I've been toying with the idea of, and I'm not quite sure still whether this is going to be the right way to go, but it's playing around in my head that it's going to be a good thing to do, is I'm looking to outsource some of my hands-on work that I do on a day-to-day basis in terms of actually designing and building websites. Now, what I've always set out to do when I started my business was to run it solo and to not employ staff. I think the way that the things are in the UK, the way things are set up in terms of employing people in the UK, it's too much of a risk for me to actually look for employees and take that on into my business. It's a massive, massive overhead that I really don't want the aggro of having. It's also something that I personally don't think I could stomach, is having all those mouths to feed, having all of that pressure on me to have to keep things going, and not just for me but also for the sake of other people as well. And it's not something that I'm looking to get into. So what I'm looking to do in terms of outsourcing is to potentially find some external help in the form of probably web designers or web developers, and probably looking abroad for that sort of person. Be looking at places like the Philippines, South Africa, and from what I've seen so far, the quality of work from people overseas is just as high as anywhere else. But the big draw is the fact that they are far cheaper. They get a good deal out of it, and I get a good deal out of it, and my clients get a good deal out of it because the work is still just as good. So the reasoning behind obviously outsourcing is because I want to be able to spend more time on the things that grow the business rather than things that run the business. So for me, I want to be able to focus my sole attention on actually getting onto calls with people and actually talking to people, generating the awareness through the social media, through my audience, through my content. And actually being the person that's doing the sales calls and doing that side of things, and then all the rest of it outsource over to somebody else who can actually design and build the websites, and I'll basically just be the in-between to make sure that the projects are running smarter. The idea behind that, and why I think that's going to be important for me hitting the 100k, is because I know the things that actually drive business forward and actually get the money coming in is me being on as many sales calls as possible with the right type of people, generating the content, doing the outreach, and actually getting people onto booked calls. So if I can free my time up to do even more of that, as well as being able to deliver the client projects, then win-win. I think that's obviously going to be a big step in terms of getting to the 100k. It's scary though, obviously, having to pass that type of work on. Is the quality going to be as good? Like I say, from what I've seen, I think people abroad can still do just as good a job. But it's just handing something over that I've got a good process of, I've got good systems of. Is it going to be done to my sort of standards? So that's the only kind of scary thing about it. More outreach to do. So I know for me to go from where I am now to 100k by the end of the year, I need to be plugging away every single day and actually getting in front of people and actually starting proper conversations. And the best way that I've found to do that so far is by connecting with as many people on LinkedIn as possible and actually getting in the DMs and starting meaningful conversations with them. So for me, it all boils down to having as many conversations as possible. The more conversations, real conversations that I can actually have with my ideal clients, the more sales that comes from it. So I know that I need to be doing far more outreach. I need to be getting in the DMs. I need to be talking to people as much as possible, because from that, that's where the revenue is going to come from. So far more outreach to do. Next point on my 100k plan is to create some new offers. So at the moment, I run my business with one very simple package offer for a website, and that's been working absolutely fantastically. But I think to generate business and increase revenue, I need to open up a few different packages that are tailored to a few different specific type of use cases or type of people that are looking for it. So I've already jotted down quite a number of different package options that I can come up with. It's just about actually getting those out and marketing all of those different packages, and just broadening the scope of the type of people who I can work with. In terms of, I'll still be working with small business owners, that's always going to be the case, but it's how I can actually deliver a website to those specific people, and that's going to come in the form of doing some DIY options or semi-DIY options for people who've got a small budget. There's going to also be some larger options for people who have got a bigger budget and are looking for a little bit more than what my current standard offer is offering at the minute. And yeah, it's just about opening those type of packages up and basically just making as many streams of revenue as possible into my business based on the type of things that I can deliver. So that's that one. And then the final point on my 100k plan is a pretty simple one, but it's one that I've already put into place already, and that is to increase my prices. So when I first started Northern Source 2.0, I like to call it, because I had a little bit of a break from it in the middle of the last 4 years. But since I started Northern Source 2.0, I started off with the same offer that I'm doing now, but for £599. And over the time, what I've done is I've increased that price. I increased it to £999. Then I went from £999 to, I think it was £1,300. And I've now increased it up to just short of £2,000, so £1,998. Which, compared to people in the same industry as me who are offering something very similar to what I'm offering, is still extremely good value, and it's still quite a bit lower than what a lot of people are offering. It's still a lot lower than what if you went to an agency or if you went to certain other web developers and designers that you'd be paying. You can be paying tens of thousands of pounds for a website exactly the same as what I'll deliver for £2,000. But yeah, so increasing prices. Obviously, the more I increase the prices, the quicker that revenue of £10,000 a month comes in, and the quicker I get to the £100,000 goal. I want to make sure the pricing, I'm sticking to a price point that's still really attractive for solo business owners, for small business owners, but as well as obviously delivering massive value to those people. And obviously, I'm not going to make no bones about it, obviously putting money into my bank as well. So that's the plan. Will it work? Absolutely, God knows. Like I said right at the very start, since I've started the business, I've never achieved anywhere near £100,000 turnover in a single year. I'm still figuring this stuff out as I go along, and I'm confident. I feel good. I feel like things are going to go in the right direction this year. We've already got off to a massively good start, better than I could have expected this year, and it's just about keeping that momentum going now and getting to that 100k. Definitely achievable. Definitely going to do it this year. Got a good feeling. 2026 is going to be a good one. So, if you haven't done so already, do me a favour and subscribe to the channel. Be really much appreciated. Link below in the description to my newsletter if you fancy signing up to that. And have a fantastic day. And I will see you on the next video. Ta-da!